How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Lycan Studios. So as you guys know, lately I've been talking a lot about the Hedge Knight, Dunk and Egg, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, whatever you want to say. But nonetheless, I just finished the first book, The Hedge Knight, and it is absolutely awesome. Huge shout out to RedSonya for sending me the books once again. But anyways, today we're going to do a summary of the story. That way you guys kind of know what's going down for the future videos. I also got to say a huge shout out to Westeros.org. I'm just reading the summary straight from the website just because it's absolutely awesome. It hits everything we need to hit. And that way, in the next couple videos where I'm breaking it down, doing like character analysis and stuff like that, you guys will kind of know what's going down. So for those of you who do not know anything about Dunk and Egg, we're talking about Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen V. It's taking place about a century before a Game of Thrones, and two unlikely heroes are wandering around Westeros. Here's their first story. The Hedge Knight. Dunk, once a poor boy from Fleabottom, has been squire to the old Hedge Knight Sir Arlen of Pennytree for years. The old man has passed on, and apparently on his deathbed he knighted Dunk. Dunk is considering what to do after he has buried Sir Arlen, and decides to try out for the tourney being held in Ashford. He reaches a small village near Ashford and gives his horses to a boy he assumes is the stable boy. Inside, Dunk buys himself dinner and is accosted by a drunken lordling who yells, "I dreamed of you. You stay away from me." Outside, the stable boy is riding Dunk's warhorse, and the Hedge Knight tells him to get down. The boy asks Dunk to take him on as a squire, but Dunk thinks he's the innkeeper's son, even though the boy is bald and has indigo eyes. Sounds like somebody we know, huh? Later, Dunk reaches Ashford Meadow, noting all of the bright pavilions of the knights and lords, and makes camp by a stream in the woods. Dunk recalls the old man's story of how he saw the last of the Targaryen dragons when he was a young boy, and Sir Arlen mentioned that the summers have been shorter since the last dragon died and the winters longer and crueler. Dunk goes off to the merchant's stalls to try and acquire some armor. He passes two puppeteers from Dorne, one a tall, young woman who Dunk takes a liking to. He barters with Stilly Pate for a full set of armor, trading some of the old man's armor to reduce the cost. He pays Pate in part and promises him the rest on the morrow, after he sells one of the old man's horses. He feels that if he can win even one pass in the tourney, he can buy back the horse and live on the coin left over for a long time, perhaps a year, until he takes service with the Lord. A Hedge Knight is basically a knight who wanders around the Seven Kingdoms looking for gainful employment. They pretty much, kind of sleep outdoors under a hedge, and that's where they get their name from. They usually have no land, and they're kind of poor most of the time. They're pretty much like a loyal mercenary, really, but they kind of serve the realm, so there's definitely a great honor. As Dunk makes his way back to his camp, he finds the boy, who names himself Egg. Dunk takes him on as a squire, surprised at the boy's persistence. He really doesn't pay any attention to the fact that Egg is short for Aegon just because he has a bald head, and thinks it kind of looks like an egg. The next morning, Dunk visits Lord Ashford's steward to enlist in the tourney, but he is told someone will need to vouch for him as they really have no proof that he's a knight. As he leaves, the Targaryen party is arriving with all of their retainers. A princeling mistakes Dunk for a stable boy and insults him when he claims to be a Hedge Knight. On the way to pay Stilly Pate for the armor, Sir Stephen Fossaway asks Dunk to spar, and the knight's squire Raymond, or his cousin, becomes Dunk's friend. The Hedge Knight then seeks out Sir Manfred Dondarrion, whose father Sir Arlen once took service with, but Sir Manfred does not remember Sir Arlen and turns Dunk away. On the way to speak with the steward, Dunk enters the Great Hall of Ashford Castle and overhears a discussion between the Crown Prince Baelor and his brother Maekar. The younger prince, always in the shadow of his great brother, is hoping that his sons will outshine Baelor's in the tourney. But two have run off, Darren and Aegon, and Maekar has sent one of the Kingsguard to find them. Maekar notices Dunk, who tries to explain what he is doing there. Lord Ashford and Maekar dismiss him, but Baelor remembers Sir Arlen, who broke 4 lances against him in a tourney years ago at Storm's End. Baelor vouches for Dunk and advises him to change the sigil on his shield, as only a true-born son may inherit a knight's arms. Later, Dunk finds Egg at the puppeteer's booth and asks the girl Tansel to paint a new sigil for him. He chooses a shooting star over an elm tree. The tourney has 5 pre-chosen champions to represent the young lady Ashford, and any challenger who wins will join the 5 champions. Dunk watches the contest carefully, considering his odds of defeating any of the knights and lords present. We'll discuss a little bit more later on when we do the analysis on kind of how the battle is set up. But anyways, he thinks that he could take Prince Valar, Baelor's oldest son, but he isn't sure how it would be taken if he chanced to injure the prince, especially since all who challenge him seem to fall without effort. During the jousting, Maekar's second son, Aerion Brightflame, challenges Sir Humphrey Harding. Aerion's lance rides up and impales Sir Humphrey's warhorse. The dying horse falls on Harding's leg and breaks it. Lord Ashford, at the behest of Baylor, awards Arian's charger to Sir Humphrey and declares the injured knight the victor. Egg, who seems to know all of the knights, insists that the mishap was done on purpose by Arian. That night, Dunk is invited to share wine with Raymond Fossaway when Egg comes running for his aid. Arian has knocked over the puppeteer's booth and has grabbed Tansel. He is livid because the puppeteer showed a dragon dying in battle, and Arian claims that they are traitors and that the dragon ought never lose. When Arian breaks one of Tansel's fingers, Dunk smashes the prince to the ground and kicks several teeth out. Arian's men grabs Dunk, but before they can harm him, Egg tells the men to unhand him. Arian asks the boy what happened to his hair, and Egg responds, "I cut it off, brother. I don't want to look like you." Dunk, now locked in one of the cells of the castle towers, cannot see the jousting the next morning, but he can hear it. Facing death or worse for what he did to a prince of the blood, Dunk feels betrayed by Egg, never having suspected that the boy is actually Maekar's youngest son, Aegar Targaryen, and nephew of Baelor Breakspear. Later, Egg visits Dunk and apologizes, telling the Hedge Knight that his uncle wants to see him. Baelor admits to Dunk that he might have done the same to Arian, but he is a prince of the blood. For his actions, he will be tried before Baelor, Maekar, Lord Ashford, and Lord Leo Tyrell, Ashford's liege lord. Baelor tells him that he will seek leniency, but even then, Dunk may lose both a hand and a foot for striking and kicking Arian. The prince does explain, however, to Dunk that it is his right as a knight to seek a trial by combat. The next day, Arian demands a trial of the seven because Darren, to make up for his absence, made up a story accusing Dunk of being a robber knight who stole Egg. So Darren actually was the drunk at the inn, and Dunk had no idea. Thus, both brothers were wronged by the Hedge Knight. A trial of the seven has not been invoked frequently in the last 100 years, it being a custom of the Andals that if there were 7 combatants on both sides, the gods would be more likely to take a hand. Dunk goes to the Fossaway tent afterwards, and Sir Stephen promises to find 5 more knights to take up Dunk's cause. Raymond is less confident, feeling his cousin may know these knights, but they probably do not know him. Later, Egg and Darren arrive. They tell him that their father and all 3 Kingsguard members present at Ashford will fight in the trial. Egg promises aid in finding more knights, and Darren promises Dunk that he will fall on the first pass and withdraw his accusation. Then he will only need to have Arian withdraw his, or kill him. Both brothers hate Arian and name him a monster. Darren then tells Dunk of the dream he had. This is the reason why he recognized Dunk in the tavern, and how his dreams often come true. He seems to have the green sight, kind of like Jojen Reed. He dreamt of Dunk, fallen down but alive, and a great dragon fallen over him, dead. Stilly Pate gives Dunk the shield Tansel painted for him, telling the Hedge Knight that the girl has fled for Dorne. Pate helps Dunk, and when the common folk cheer him on, Dunk asks why. Pate tells him that he is a knight who remembered his vows. Dunk finds 3 knights waiting for him, ready to take his cause: Sir Robin Risling, Sir Humphrey Beesbury, and Sir Humphrey Harding, who seek revenge for what Arian did to him. Short after, Sir Lionel Baratheon, nicknamed the Laughing Storm, joins them. Egg is responsible for bringing Sir Robin and the Laughing Storm. However, Sir Stephen has changed sides after hearing he may win a lordship from Prince Maekar. Raymond, his cousin, angered by his actions, changes his sigil to a green apple instead of the red apple and has Sir Lionel knight him. The trial, near ready, is held up while Dunk desperately seeks a 7th knight, but no one in the stands will even look at him, and only the Brute of Bracken has the decency to answer him, saying that he knows him not. All seems lost until Prince Baelor rides in wearing his son's armor. Maekar, stunned, questions his older brother, and Baelor responds, "This man protected the weak as every true knight must. Let the gods determine if he was right or wrong." What a badass. Baelor informs him that he will handle the Kingsguard since they are honor-bound and not to harm a Prince of the Blood and can only defend themselves against him. The jousting begins, and true to his word, Darren falls and withdraws his accusation. The fighting is fierce, but Dunk, finally resorting to his base instincts, grapples Arian and overpowers him, forcing the prince to yield. Dunk, badly hurt, sees that both of the Humphreys were killed and 2 of the Kingsguard knocked unconscious. Dunk falls down from his injuries and sees Baelor standing over him. The prince summons his maester to tend to Dunk, and the Hedge Knight tells Baelor that he is his man. Pate and Sir Raymond try to take Baelor's helm off, but the great prince's head is caved in, and he falls atop of Dunk, dead, thus proving the green sight true. At Baelor's funeral pyre, Dunk tries to make sense of why the gods deem that such a great man should fall and a Hedge Knight live. A couple of days later, Maekar visits Dunk, remorseful in his knowledge that it was his mace that killed Baelor. But Dunk feels that he was as much at fault for Baelor's death, saying, "How could my foot be worth a prince's life?" Maekar tells Dunk that he has sent Arian off to Lies, I think is how you pronounce it, and that his son Aegon will squire for no one but Dunk. The prince offers him a knighthood and a position at Summerhall if he takes Prince Aegon as his squire, but Dunk wishes Egg to learn the way he did by traveling on the road and braving the hardships, and afterwards he might take up Maekar's offer. The next morning, Egg arrives at Dunk's camp, and the two have an urge to visit Dorne and perhaps catch a puppeteer show. What an awesome short story. Now, hopefully most of you guys have read this before you listen to the summary, because if not, I kind of just ruined it for you, and you shouldn't have done that because you really need to read this book. It's absolutely awesome. Definitely check it out. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the summary. I'll definitely link it down in the description below. Westeros.org is absolutely awesome. I get a lot of information from there. But anyways, we're going to be doing future videos covering the story, kind of like character breakdowns, plot breakdowns, some really cool things that you guys may not realize about these characters that has to do with the Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. But yeah, anyways, make sure to smash that thumbs up button. This has been Lycan Studios. We'll see you really soon, I promise. Peace.